Hello, friends. We are back together again here on Facebook Live. And today we're going to be reading this book. It's called Me on the Map. And I think that we may have read a little bit of this before, but just like any other book, it's always good to read a book more than once. And this week we are thinking about community helpers, and maybe or next week, because you guys have the choice of working on science or social studies. But the read alouds this week kind of go along with our social studies work, thinking about community helpers and thinking about our neighborhoods and our communities in general, and being able to kind of talk about what we might find in our neighborhood. So let's get started. So this is called Me on the Map. And you can probably tell that we're going to be learning about our world, right? Where we live. And this book is by Joan Sweeney, and it is illustrated by Annette Cable. Me on the Map. Let's get started. Oh, look at this. Look at all these tools. These must be tools for creating a map, right? I see some rulers. I see some straight edges, scissors. Wow, crayons. Me on the map. This is me. This is me in my room. I wonder what your room looks like. And this is a map of my room. This is me on the map of my room. I wonder if you could draw a map of your room. That would be fun, to try and draw a map of your room. Oh, look at some friends are here. I can see Adeline is here listening, and I can see Amber is here listening. Hello, my friends. I'm happy you're here listening to our story. Did you see the title? Do you remember this book, Me on the Map? Yeah. Have you ever drawn a map of your room? This is my house. Whoops. And this is a map of my house. I can see that she drew the living room. Do you see where the living room is in the middle? She drew the kitchen. Do you see the kitchen? She drew my room, my brother's room, my mom and dad's room, the bathroom. She even drew the garage and the patio. Wow. Let's see what's on the next page. This is my street. Look at the houses on the street. And this is a map of my street. This is my house on the map of my street. And when she's drawing the map, hi Cece, I'm glad you're listening. She has the name of the street right here, Oak Street. We have an Oak Street in Plymouth. And she has the numbers of the houses. It's a little tricky to see. Oh, now we can see it. Do you see the numbers of the houses? And I think that this colored in house over on the side is her house. That's pretty impressive. I would maybe draw a simple picture of my house, not quite so fancy. So she's drawing different maps. So far she's drawn a map of her bedroom, a map of her house, and a map of her street. Let's see what happens next. Wow. This is my town. Let's see what kind of buildings are in her town. Can you see? I can see a bank. I wonder if I go closer if you can read the words. I can see a plaza. Do you know what plaza is? A plaza is like where there's a bunch of stores. Like Walmart has a bunch of stores. That would be like a plaza. I can see a building with a clock. What do you think? And a flag. I wonder if that's the school. I'm going to look closely and tell you. No, it's the courthouse. Wow. And down here it says Pleasant Grove. That must be the name of her town. Do you remember the name of our town? Yep, our town is Plymouth. Our town is Plymouth. This is a map of my town. I don't think she drew this map. I think this is a map that she had and she's showing. We could find a map of our town online. Maybe you have a book of maps. They used to make books of maps. I used to have a book of maps from Massachusetts. Massachusetts is our state, right? This is my state. So this is a picture that she is showing for her state. And we just talked about our state, right? Our state is Massachusetts. We live in the state of Massachusetts. And this, oh, she lives in the state of Kansas. Kansas is another state in the United States of America. Here's a map of her state. And she has a picture of her town on the map of her state. And I'm going to see if I can point it out to you. Oh, it's right here. So if you look closely, do you see that little dot right there, that black dot? That is her town. And Topeka is the capital of Kansas, just like Boston is the capital of Massachusetts. Oh, this is my country. Do you remember the name of our country? Of course you do. It's the United States of America, right? Look, here it is. She lives in the same country that we live in. This is a map of my country. This is the map of your country as well. So she lives in Kansas, in the middle part of the country. If you go this way, way up here, see that orange state? That's our state, the state of Massachusetts. We live in the northeastern part of the country. So this is my state on the map of my country. So she's pointing to Kansas, but we would say this is my state because our state is Massachusetts. Way up here. Is our state bigger or smaller than her state? You're right, it is smaller. I wonder if we have more people or less people. That would be something we could look up. Maybe I'll try to look that up later. This is my world. It is called Earth, and it looks like a giant ball. Look at that. Isn't that something? If you could unroll the world and make it flat, we're going to have to turn the page to see what happens next. Oh, it would look something like this. This is the map of the world. We've looked at the world map before, right? We've talked about where families have traveled. We are way over here in North America, right? We're right about there, I would say. And we've talked about our songs. Some of our music comes from Africa, the music that we listen to. Remember Tanzania and Kenya? But we've talked about families who have traveled. Some families have traveled out of the country to Europe. Mrs. Pagnotti has traveled to Ireland, which is part of Europe. Some families have traveled within the United States to Florida and New York. I wonder if you've traveled anywhere that you could share with your friends. So here's how I find my special place on the map. First, I look at the map of the world and I find my country. So let's see. Here's our country. It's the pink one. Do you see it? It's a little tricky. Here's North America. That's our continent, right? North America. The United States of America is our country. Then I look at the map of my country and I find my state. She's finding Kansas. We would find Massachusetts. And then I find my town. Do you remember what town we would find? You're right, we would find Plymouth. Plymouth is our town. Then I look at the map of my town and I find my street. Ooh, do you know what street you would look for? What is your street? What is your street? I wonder. You would look for your street name if we were looking at a map of Plymouth. You could find Cold Spring, right? You could. And on my street, I find my house. There's her house. And in my house, I find my room. I bet you know where your room is in your house. Of course you do. And in my room, I find me. Just think. In rooms and houses, on streets in towns, in countries all over the world, everybody has their own special place on the map. Everybody does. Look at that. That's pretty cool, right? Everyone has a special place on the map. Very special. Just like me. Just like me. Here she is, drawing pictures of herself on the map. That's exciting. Just like me on the map. And that is the end of our story. So I know that for writing today, we're talking about something we like in our house. Well, if you have extra time and you want to do some more writing or drawing, maybe, just maybe, you could draw a picture. Ooh. You could draw a picture or the map of your room. Do you think you could do that? What are some important things that you might want to put in your map? Let's see, if I were drawing my room, I would want to have my bureau. I would want to show my closet where all my clothes go. I would want to show my bed. If I don't have a desk in my room, but if I did, I would put my desk in my map. I don't have a bookshelf in my room, but if I were little, I might have a bookshelf. I might even have a toy box, and I might put those things on my map. Maybe you have a television in your room, you could put that on your map. There are so many different things. Oh, wow. Adeline, thank you for looking that information up. So Adeline's family looked up the information about how many people are in Kansas and how many people are in Massachusetts, and I kind of had a feeling that this was going to be the case. There are almost 3 million people in Kansas, but in Massachusetts, there are almost 7 million people. So even though Massachusetts is little, we have more people than Kansas. Wow. We have twice as many people. Can you imagine that? That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that information. That's very interesting. So friends, thank you for coming and listening to the story of me on the map. And now you have another option for writing today, or another option for something that you can do to show your learning. Draw a picture or draw a map of your room. And you could have your family take a picture of it and put it into our classroom. Okay? Thanks again. I will be back later with the read aloud of Charlotte's Web. And I will see everybody tomorrow at morning meeting. Have a great night, friends. Bye. You're welcome. Thank you. Bye, guys.